Dear students, welcome to the knowledge series. Today, under EC 407 Computer Communication, we are going to see the discussions with respect to the reference model. What exactly the reference model? The reference model is a conceptual layout that describes how the communication between the devices should take place. That means it talks about a model. If a number of devices are there, and if these devices with a different brand names, if it has to communicate, so how that particular reference model it has to follow. So here under the reference model we are having two things. One is a logical layout as well as a physical layout. Now to understand more about this one, I take into consideration one example. Say for example you are having a USB mouse. So if you are purchasing a USB mouse of a different brand and you are trying to interface with your systems, automatically it is going to work out because there is some set of conditions that has been followed while manufacturing that USB mouse. So that is what we are going to discuss under the reference model. So here we are going to see some terminology like a protocols. So what exactly the protocol means? Protocol is actually, it refers to the set of rules that coordinates the exchange of informations between the sender and the receiver. So here you try to see this one. Protocol defines format, order of message sent and received among network entities and action taken on message transmissions received. So that is what it means, that it is nothing but a set of rules. And the protocol basically it determines the policies on what, how and when it has to be communicated. Say for example you see here human protocol and network protocol. Network protocol is a machines rather than human, but a human is like for example you say what is the time. I have a questions, introductions. So every time when you say this one something like a you are giving some punch or a punctuations statement, that one that it talks about something you want to say or on some topic you want to present. So it talks about a specific message sent, specific action to be taken. That is here something you are talking about a message, what is the time, and I have a question, so something you want to say with respect to the action and introductions. So you talk something about an event. So that is how you take into consideration about the protocols in it. Now when we talk about a protocol further, protocol is actually categorized in with respect to its three elements. One is syntax, another is semantic and timely. Now what exactly syntax means? Syntax is basically, it refers to the format of a data that is to be communicated, and semantic basically it refers to the meaning and interpretations of each bits of a data, and timely means when the data should be sent and at what speed. Now here what does exactly it means? So syntax, when we talk about a syntax, say for example you want to send a text, whether it is a string format or it is just in a decimal format, or you are sending in the form of a binary bits. All these things has some form of a representation or some notation is there, or some set of rules is there that follows for this syntax to use it even while on the programming. If you are using a strings, so its format is there. Semantic, it talks about whatever you are sending, it should have some meaning. Say for example, you are sending a bit, a 2-bit 1 1, so it automatically represent as either 11 or it may be represent in the form of a 3. So that is what we say with respect to the representation of a bit. So so semantic should have some definite meaning. Timely means when you have to send data. See, if there is a sender and a receiver, if the sender and receiver it has to communicate, so there should be handshaking. That means request, clear to send, data, acknowledge. So that is how the data communication take place using a handshake. So there is a definite amount of protocols and a set of conditions there why the systems can able to communicate, and at what speed it has to govern. So these are nothing but the elements coming under the protocols. Now we go to the further discussions. Again, we are going to see here some terms, protocols I have defined just now. Now we will see the standard. Standard means you can see a standard provides a model for development of a product. That means if you are developing some product, there should be some standard, and that standard it should be certified. That means if it is a de facto means it is a standard, but it is based on the fact, but not based on the formal recognition. So you do not have a recognitions like we have a ISI standards. So once that standard is approved, then only you can make a product. But if you make a product and that is floated in the market, then it is put under questions. So that's why the de facto and de jure is the two type of a standard. De jure means it is based on the establishment by law. That means that standard is already approved prior to the product is made. Whereas here the product is made based on the idea and it becomes accepted by the peoples, but it is not a standard. So that is comes under the class of a standards. Forum basically it's a form of a message where a user can interact with one another via post or replies, and that's how the forum in the forum they try to bring certain facts, certain conditions, so that it can be further put either in the form of a protocol or a standards, so for a further development. So that is what we can see under the case of a forum. So there are three type of a forum representations: frame relay forum, ATM forum and consortium, Internet Society and Engineering Task Force. So these are nothing but different attributes related to the forums. Regulatory agencies, that is FCC. Regulatory means it's basically a government regulations where the certain activities can be carried out by directing a control set of rules. So that's how the regulatory agency try to do. So here given an example of FCC. So these protocol, standard, forum, regulatory agencies plays a very important role under the reference models. So let us see some of the standard organizations. Standard organizations like International Standard Organizations, ISO, International Telecommunication Union, that is ITU, Telecommunication Standard Sectors, ITUT, formerly the CCITT, the American Standards Institute, ANSI, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer, IEEE, the Electronic Industries Associations, EIA, and Telcordia. So these are nothing but the different standards body that try to approve based on the idea that want to put it into a product forms or in other forms which is useful for the the networking field or in the field of communications. Now we are going to see the area with respect to the network devices. Here you can see there are some figures with respect to devices, nodes. So this is what we talk about the network devices. You have seen my previous video under network, where I have discussed with respect to the internet, and wherever the internet is there, the router is going to come. A router is basically a traffic directors of a global internet. So it tried to collect the information from the various nodes through the devices, and thereby it pass on to the internet world. Bridge is basically for doing the same activities just like a router does, but on the lower end. So here it's basically a device that allows you to segment a large network into smaller and more efficient network, but not directly like a router. So it is used for the smaller networkings. Then you have a hub. Hub is basically a physical layer networking that allows for connecting multiple devices in a network. And here you can see a segment being shown with where the hub and the terminal is connected, and these are nothing but the nodes where printer, laptop, systems like that one devices are connected together. So in all together, the network devices it plays a major role in connecting the various devices. So when these devices need to connect through this hub, bridge, router, all these devices need to follow the certain protocols, and these devices they have a certain standard over which these particular devices is being manufactured and marketed and being installed. So there is a protocol, there is a standard, and there is a regulatory body who approve this product to get employed or to use under the networking. So that is what we talk with respect to the network devices. The next we are going to discuss about a layered task. The layered task is a very important area that we are going to see in this forum of discussions. Is that one? When we talk about a layer is a layer architecture is basically it is defined that what are the activities the layer level it has to perform, and what are the activities the layer under the vertical movement it has to do, and what are the activities on the horizontal representations of the layer it has to do. So if you see a vertical representation of each layer, it has a different responsibility. So based on that responsibility, it will try to perform the set of activities. But on the horizontal form of a representations of a layer, it does the similar activities on the either sides. So that is what we try to make you to understand with respect to a very simple example on organization of air travel. Assume that you are traveling by an aeroplane, and for that you follow this path. Thereby you start from your home and you reach to the destinations. So your aim is to reach the destinations, but you have to pass through the several layers. Thereby after performing that layer, it is just like you are encoding the part of the layer, and finally when you are to reach to the destinations, you have to decode all the layers so that you can reach the destination. Now what you are encoding in the layer is nothing but the first is that you are purchasing a ticket. So after purchasing the ticket from the ticket counter, you are going to counter where you want to scan your X-ray scan of your baggage, and thereby your baggage is being stamped and taken over by the department to load it into the plane, and finally you move to the gate and enter into the plane to the respective cabin. A plane is then moved to the runway, and from the runway it tried to take off, and once it take off, the aeroplane take its route. So from once the aeroplane take its route, that indicates that it has done the task related to the sending part. So this is your sending part. The aeroplane take a route, and finally aeroplane is close to the destinations. From the destinations, when the aeroplane reaches, it tries to see the airport and then the runway, and then finally it tries to land on the runway. Once the aeroplane lands on the runway and reach to the point where the plane has to onboard the passenger as well as the load, on that particular gate it reaches, and from there the passengers comes out of the planes and move to the gate, and from the plane where the luggage or the baggage was loaded, that moves from the towards the unloading sections, or the unloading of the luggage or the baggages take place from the plane. And these baggages through the conveyor, it reaches to you, and there you claim your baggage, because in the starting point your baggage has been checked, so they stamp it, and here when you claim it you have to show the proof, and thereby you get the bag. And finally you have to come out of your airport, so you have to show a certain reference or the ticket reference, so that you have been confirmed to exit. So thereby you reach to the destinations. So dear students, what you have seen that by following the set of layer activities, this has reduced the complexity of jumble activities to carry out at a one point, rather performing a set of activities at a different layer by different responsibilities. So this itself try to reduce the effort, and thereby it makes the design architectures, whether it is a travel of air travel, or you take a post office, you do the activities related to the posting of letters or sending a particular parcel. Everything follow the similar layer task structures. So this layers task structures has many advantage. The basic advantage is that when you do a layering or a layer or a layered layering form of activities, it tries to resolve the complex task by breaking them into a smaller task. See, if all these tasks is if you want to perform at a one point, so what is going to happen? It is going to cause a complexity. So what it finally does is that it tries to break that one into smaller level. So this type of layering of a task gives the easiness of any complex task by breaking them into a smaller forms. And second is that each layer it tries to analyze, and it works independently. So that is another thing we can see in the layer task. And every layer has its own functionalities. So that is another things you can see. And there is a transparency. Say ticket purchase has its own activities, runway takeoff has its own, baggage checking has its own activities. So there is a transparency of these activities. And every layer if you try to see one layer upper layer to the lower layer, so every functionality of the layer below it uses the upper layer, and it tries to transfer that functionality even back to the lower layer on the center side, and the receiver layer you try to see the functionality of the below layer and the functional is being exported to the functionality at the upper layer. So like that the different activities of the layer structure is being followed under these particular organizations of air travels. Now we go to the next point of our discussion is the ISO and /OSI. What exactly is this one? Now ISO and OSI as the term we try to see here. ISO is the organization which was established the year 1947, which is nothing but international standards organizations, and it is a multinational body and dedicated to the worldwide agreement of international standards. What does it means? That means that any activities you perform, there should be some recognitions of a certain standards, approval from the standardizations body. Thereby, the activities when you performs, that is going to ease the complexity in a simpler manners. So thereby everybody can irrespective of the place and type of the attributes, it will try to fit it in a proper way. That means in the ISO form of a standardizations, the recognitions of the protocols is being followed, and that protocols is being also followed for the manufacturing of the device, or even follow for the certain policies, or even for following for the certain set of rules. So these are nothing but a particular body. OSI is if you write it in a reverse way, it is a open system interconnections. So that is OSI. So ISO standard that covers all aspects of a network communications in an open system OSI model. So ISO is a one bigger organizations. It do the standardizations for many areas, even for say schools, colleges, industries, many places. But here this ISO standard, which is covers for the network communication, is the OSI, that is we termed as a open system interconnection. And this was introduced, you see, in the year 1970s, late 1970s. And the OSI is a reference model, and it is a hierarchical structures of a 7 layers. We can see here 7 layers. This is hierarchical structure of a 7 layer, and that defines the requirement of a communications between two devices. That means if a two computer want to communicate, it has to follow this hierarchical structure of a OSI reference model, then only it is going to perform. Now here if you try to see this model, basically it was designed by the ISO for the OSI, and this standard is basically being considered as a reference model, but in a real sense the standard is being used in a different format that we will discuss further. Now if you see these 7 layers, the 7 layer, the upper layer is or we can say it starts from here, but this is the upper layer, which is the application layer, then a presentation layer, assertion layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, physical layer. So this is the bottommost layer, and this which is numbered as 1. Normally to remember this one, put here a easy way to remember with the aid of this mnemonics, like please do not tell secret password anytime. Please do not tell secret password anytime. Please means physical layer. Do means data link. Not means network. Tell means transport. Secret means session. Password means presentation. Anytime means application. So this is a normally people try to do a mistake by interchanging. So that's why a mnemonics is being put here for easy understanding. So that is what we are going to discuss in more detail. So when a data is sent from one machine to another, so from layer to layer it has to follow, and once it reaches from the top to bottom, the sending will take place, and once when it reaches to the destination, in the same way it will follow in a reverse way from the bottom to the top. So thereby it will try to recover back what was needed in this application point, or in the application what was your requirement that has been met in the from the destinations point by following in a reverse way. So when a data is passed through these layers on the source machine, each layers will keep on adding some more files, that is a header file and or a trailer files. That means from here, if a data is coming, so that data will pass through an application layer, then a header is added. Why header is added? Means data has passed through this one. You think that this is one house, so it has crossed this house, so they are given him something. So that from that house it has come to presentation layer, so it will also give something to add with that information. So like that everywhere it will be getting an header, except here it comes, here it will be getting header and trailer. So the trailer will be there, header will be there, and finally it will come to the physical layer, and thereby it will go to the destination. So that is what we see in this form of a communications. Now in the application layer, which is the 7th layer, it has a different specific activities. Presentation layer, it also has a different specific activity. Like that, every layer is doing its own activities and own task. All the tasks are not same. So just like we have seen in the previous example on organizations of air travel, how it was performing, in the same way these layers is going to perform the similar set of activities. That is what we are going to discuss in the subsequent discussions of our OSI layers. So here we will try to see this OSI layer further, then we will go independent wise for our discussion. Now here a device A want to communicate with device B. So this is our communication. So normally what we see, this device will send a signal through a cable and or through a wired or a wireless media to a intermediate node, and from here again a networking take place, and again it will reach to the another node. From there it is going to a computer. So it is just a wire connections between these two, and these two are nothing. Intermediate node is nothing but your network is not just a connection between one device to another device. It is connection connected through a various network nodes. So we feel that it is a simple wire through which this communication take place. Of course, it is a simple communication take place between these two wires, between these common wires, but behind that it follows all these activities, that is application layers. So first these informations what you are sending, it will come to application layer, which is 7th layer. That 7th layer is added with the header, and it will come to presentation layer. The presentation layer will receive that header and try to build its new header, and it will be adding to the presentation, then it will come to session layer. Here is the interface. You can see there is a protocols between these two layers. So like every layer has having a certain protocol of understanding for the communications. So like that sessions, when it comes, session layers is going to receive the presentation layer information and try to convert it, and then thereby it will try to add the header. Then in this it will come to transport layer. Transport layer receive that same data or a payload, and then it will add again the header, and then it will send to network layer. Network layer receive the same data, receive the data, and then it is added with the another header. It will come to data link layer. Data link layer will be adding the header and trailer, and then it comes to physical layer. Physical layer in the form of a bits, it is transmitted and it is further communicated to the end user. Here comes the three layers. It is being shown: physical layer, data link layer, network. That is in the intermediate point. Here also in the intermediate points, these physical layer, data link layer, and network layer is coming. Here the other layer is not needed because it is already converted and it is only transmitting from this intermediate node. Say if it is a router is there, that's why network is coming. So and here the data is passing through it, so that's why data link layer is there, and it is passing through a connectivity, that's why a physical layer is there. So that's how the these three references is being shown out across this one. And finally at the destination side, the reverse actions take place: physical layer, data link layer, network layer, like that. And finally it goes in a reverse way. So here it was encoded, here it is decoding back. So here it was enclosed, and here it is doing a reverse enclose of all the header and the trailer identity. Thereby it is reaching to the destination. So a device A is communicating with a device B using all these layer structures. Now we try to see whatever I have communicated, the data is added with the header, which is so it this frame this becomes one frame. So like that several structure data and the header is being formed. Of course here we normally don't term it is actually coming in the form of a packets, but for your initial understanding I am putting that words the data and the header. So header is something which is giving identity about where it has to go and what it means. So finally it comes to the data link where you are having a header and trailer, and finally it has becomes a bit forms transmitted over a medium, and finally the reverse actions take place and it reaches to the destinations. So this is what we see in the exchanging using a OSI model. Now we'll go to the one by one the responsibility of a PL. Now in the OSI model, the layer framework for the design of a network systems is basically used for the communications. So in the physical layer, actually this layer is responsible is for the movement of a individual bits from a one hop node to the next hop, or a one point to the another. Whether it is a sender or a receiver, or from a sender to the next node, whatever it may. And this layer, it defines the physical and the electrical characteristics of a network. And it acts as a connectivity between the several nodes or several devices in the form of a hardware as well as the softwares. And you can see that one it is basically in the form of a bit forms. So what are the functional activities? That the functional activities, the physical characteristics of a device for interface between to the medium, and thereby from medium it has to convert to back to the physical layer format. So if you are sending a digital signal, so it has to convert back. Digital signal is transmitted over here, it is back to in the form of a digital format. So representation of a bit sequence, data and then at what rate it has to go, that is a data transmission rate. Then every bit it has to synchronize so that its character should not be varied by the time it reaches to the destination. There should be a point-to-point line configuration. There should be a topology it has to follow, whether it is a star topology or a mesh topology or a bus topology. What there is a transmission medium is there, whether you are following a wired medium or a wireless medium. So these are nothing but certain parameters it talks with respect to. So here when we talk about transmission mode, not only talk about a wireless and wired medium, transmission mode is basically simplex, half duplex and full duplex. And when we talk about synchronizations, bit synchronizations, so it talks about the sending and the receiving bits that need to be same here. And when we talk about a data rate, it talks about a number of bits at the each sections. And here bit sequence is nothing but you talk about the encoding methods, and like RZ, NRZ, these are nothing but the type of encoding that we follows. And the characteristics, that is here you are transmitting in the transmission media is shown wired or a wireless format. So that is what we see in the case of a physical layer. Now in the case of a data link layers, you can try to see that it's basically responsible for moving a frame from a one hop to the next. That means when we see that data link layer, here is the upper layer is a network layer. So upper layer network layer data is taken and it is encapsulated with the header and trailer frame and then sent to physical layer. And that's how the reverse process takes place. So that is what we see in the case of a network layer. So here the responsibility is what? Framing. Framing means it converts the bit received from the network layer to the physical layers. And next is a physical addressing. It has it forms a physical address because every device will have its own address. So that is what it talks about. Say for example, your mobile has one address. If you take a next mobile, it has its own address. So every mobile has its own address with which the device tries to communicate. And there is a flow and control and error control. Flow control means message the sender sends that in the form of a frame. That message should have some dialogues or some handshaking, so that there should not be a situation that message has sent and it has not reached. So there are some methods is there, like in the flow control, like a stop and wait, sliding window. Those are nothing but a flow control. Error control means to ensure that the frames are delivered into the destination in a proper way. So here like VRC, LRC, CRC, checksum, these are nothing but a error control. Access control means basically it's a mechanisms to control the stations so that there should not be a collisions. Say for example, let us take a device here, device here, device here. If this device communicate with this device and also this device communicate with this one, so what will happen? This device will get confused. So there should be a methods like a time division multiplexing or a CSMA CD or a pooling methods. All these methods are basically used for accessing control access methods. So that is what we see in the data link layer. So data link layer basically its responsibility is to provide a reliable delivery of a data from node to nodes, so that whatever informations that we want to transmit, at this point the information is checked. because from the upper layer till the data link layer, the data information is coming, but here this information again it has to encapsulate, and then it has to further send over a medium, so that this data should not get disturbed, or should not get varied, or its content should not change. So that's why its responsibility is for the proper delivery of data from node to node. Now next comes the network layer. Now under the network layers, basically it's responsible for the delivery of individual packet from source host to the destination host. That means the network layer is doing end-to-end communications, and in this layer the data is planned to send outside using a packet, and here we are using a logical address. Logical address is something like your house address, where the postman comes and deliver your letters or your post. So that is how a logical address is being defined. So here in this network layer, every packet which is coming from the upper layer, it is being routed in such a way that it reaches to the destination in a proper way. So this is what we see. The data is received at the network layer, and its responsibility is to ensure the data is delivered to the destination properly. So here the functional activities, logical addressing, routing, then there is a congestion control is also there under the network layer. So what exactly the logical address means? Logical address means it will add the header to the packet that is coming from the upper layer, which is a transport layer. So that is what we see in this particular layer. Now routing. What is routing? Here is a routing means route, showing the route. So network layer always ensures the best route for the packet from the source to the destination using a routing algorithms. So if the packet is passing through a proper route or a noise free route, then there are chances that then it shows that your information is not going to disturb, and you will be able to reach the destinations in a proper way and in a proper time span. So all these performance improvement through the routing is possible through routing algorithm for the proper destinations. And a congestion control means it tries to reduce the traffic on the network to reduce the delay and increase the performance. That is what I mean, because when the routing is proper, your congestion is going to become less, and automatically delay will be less, and thereby the performance will increase. So this is what we see in the case of a network layer. Now we go to the next layer of the discussion is nothing but our transport layer. In the transport layer, responsibility is for the deliver of the message from one process to another. This is very important thing. You see, one process to another process. So that is what. So as the responsibility for the process to process deliver is being performed by the transport layer. But when we talk about the network layer, it talks about a device to device. So that is what we try to see. That means if a two computer is running with some process applications, then that communication is made by the transport layer. But when the communication between the computer is to computer is done, that is using a network layer. So you have to be very careful about transport layer and network. Transport layer is only, it talks about a process to process, whereas network layer is for a device to device. So here you can see that there are some responsibility: service point port addressing, segmentation and reassembling, congestion control, flow control and error control. Service point addressing basically means it is the address to process in terms of a port address. So here you can see a word port. A porting is being said. A port is just like you can think like a door, where from where you are entering. So it has some numbering. So like in the college you are having every classroom is having some room, some numbering. So but college itself is having some address. So in that address, if you come, after that you go to individual rooms. So it is something like a port. So every port is having some address, and this is basically added as a header to the data from the session layer. So from the session layer, when it comes, it is added with the header, and whatever data is coming from the session layer, to that the transport layer add the header. So that is what you can see here, arrow. It is coming from transport session layer, and over which the header is added. So this is what we can see in the service point addressing. The segmentation and reassembly means, segmentation means sending a data from the sender side, and it is reassembled back in the receiver side. Say for example, you are taking a packet and you are dividing the packet into example like a 3, 2, 1, and you are sending to the destination. After that, at the destination, it has to be reassembled like a 1, 2 and 3. So that is what, because 3, 2, 1 you have made. So first one is transmitting. So after that, once it reaches there, it become 1, 2 and 3. That is what it indicates. Whatever you are transmitting here, that is when it reaches at the receiver, then that become fast. If this is a 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, so automatically at the destination this becomes 1, this become 2, and this become 3. So that is what we see in the case of a segmentation and reassembling. That is, segmentation means packet is being divided into smaller divisions. That is segmentation. And reassemble means that segmented is you are put back into a packet forms. Communication connection control in the transport layer. Transport layer means it can be either connection oriented or a connection less. Connection oriented means before sending packet, you try to create a connections. Like for example, if you talk about a telephones connection, it is a connection oriented. If you say take the olden telephone connections, it is a connection oriented. But when you talk about a postal service, it is a connectionless. You don't need to make a connections. That means a sender is sending a letter, it will be reaching at the same instant. That is not. But in the telephone, whatever the subscriber is dialing to the another subscriber, it will immediately get connected, and once it is connected, then only the communication take place. Whereas postal is not that particular conditions. Now we are going to see the transport layers. What is going to take place in the transport layer condition? In the transport layers, you can try to see the reliable process to process delivery. So that is what we see in the case of a transport layers further for the discussions. So here also we are seen in the transport layer. Now here you see the process is there. So initially the figure shows that computer is connected through the internet. So here this computer will have some the network address. This will have a network address. This computer network address will send information to identify the network address of the next the destination system, and thereby it has to deliver message. So if it has to deliver message, this process is being sent through the transport layer. That is a process to process deliver, and it will reach to the systems where the session layer, presentation layer, and the application layer finally try to deliver it back to the destinations. So this is what we see in the transport layer. Now coming to the session layer, the session layer has its set of activities. Basically, the session layer task is for a dialog control and synchronizations. So that is what we see in the case of a session layer. So under the session layers, if you try to see this one, the session layer is responsible for a dialog control and synchronization. In the dialog control, the session layer gives a facility for the two systems to maintain a dialog box for a communications. That means either they will make in the half duplex mode or a full duplex mode for doing a two-way communications. So actually the systems will decide how it has to communicate, whether it is one at a time or in the full duplex mode. Synchronizations means say in this case a certain checkpoint is being added in the data streams to verify and acknowledge whether that data has been received or not. That means, say for example, you take this particular figure. Here the particular packet is divided into segments. Let us take this is one segment, second segment, third segment, like that. At every packet, assume that this is a black spot. There is a black spot. So this is something like a checksum. So or you can consider that one. It is going to see the checkpoint. So at the receiver side, once it receives, assume that at the receiver side this bit is received here. After that, the next black spot or the checkpoint is arrived or not. If it is arrived, then it is the session layer will confirm that the data is in a proper order. So that the checksum, what it is followed in the sender side, the same thing followed in the receiver side. So you can see from the presentation layer to transport layer, presentation layer, the information passed to the session layer, and that is being transferred to the transport layer. At the receiver side, from the transport layer it comes, and that session layer process it and send it back to the presentation layer. So if these two are properly synchronized, then the data will be appropriate. Next comes the presentation layer. Now the presentation layer responsible for translation, compression and encryptions. That means it deals with the syntax and the semantic. I've already explained syntax and semantic of the information exchange between the two systems. Then only that exchange it will take place. So that is what we mean to say with respect to the presentation layers. And finally comes the application layer. So in the responsibility of the applications layer is that you can see that it is for providing the service to the users. So here the user is getting a service. Exactly what the service means, the user is basically a human. Here the user is a human or a software. It tried to access the network. So so this layer basically represents the service directly to supports the application. Say for example, you are using a WhatsApp service or you are using a SMS service. So you have to type, so and then the software then will make it a connectivity. At the end, you are in the application layer, when you are sending to the destination also do the reverse process, and thereby whatever you have typed, it has been viewed at the destinations by the destination party. So here under the application layer there are different functions are there: network, virtual terminals, file transfer access management, email service and directory service. So what exactly this means? Network virtual terminal means basically it's a software versions, and that is use the physical terminals. Say for example, user is given a remote access or a remote host login facility using this network virtual terminal, because you are accessing the particular network. You say from your mobile you want to access, so that is a virtual terminal. Through the software you are accessing the network. File transfer access and management means all the file related, how you want to store the file, how you want to access, how you want to save it, how it has to be managed. All these things is handled by the application layer. This application layer also has a email service facilities, and also it has a directory service. That means how the directory has to access the various services that is provided by these layers. So this is what we try to see in the various responsibility of the OSI layers. So I just summarize the OSI layer is that we have a physical layer where we try to use a data rate and transmission media and mode. Then data link layer is where we try to convert the data into a frame, and we will have a flow and error control. Then we have a network layer where we have a source to destination routing. Transport layer is there where we try to give a process to process delivery. Session layer is there we try to manage the sessions, and finally the two more is one is presentation layer where we do encryption, decryption and compressions, and an application layer where we can access the network, whether to access the network at the center side or to receive the applications final from the network access. So this completes the discussions related to the network layers, OSI layers. Now we try to see some of the additional discussions with respect to this OSI layers, and for that I am going to take another sessions so that it become easy for you to understand, and you try to study this one, or you try to refer this video series once again before going to the next session. Thank you.